Hello, friends. Grace and peace to you on this Wednesday, July 15th. I'm recording today from our home. Most all of your staff team has been working from home, as are many other people. And today I want to update you on a few things going on at the church and beyond the church. First, our reopened the building team met outside yesterday, physically distanced, wearing masks in Central Park, which is just north of our columbarium. This is the area where we believe we can hold outdoor worship starting sometime in August. We're not sure yet, the first Sunday. And we walked through and talked through the many steps that we need to take to make sure that what we provide is safe for people who choose to come to an in-person experience. So I can give you a little snapshot of what you might expect. We will have parking not in adjacent parking spaces, but to keep some space between cars. We will have people in the parking lot who will greet you and welcome you and will help you, direct you to a place that will be appropriate and safe for you or your family unit to sit. Families obviously are able to sit together because they are sheltering in place together, but all other people who are not sheltering in place together will be seated where they can keep a minimum of 6 feet of distance between them. We will wear our masks at all times while we're on the property. We will have gender neutral restrooms open in the Knowles building. And so if somebody needs to use the restroom, that will be available. There will be a volunteer to monitor to make sure that we don't have multiple people in the restroom at the same time, and we will use one door to enter the Knowles building and a different door to exit from the Knowles building. This is part of the required protocol for safety. We will also enter the outdoor worship space on one side of the columbarium, and we will leave, not all at the same time, the worship space on the other side of the columbarium. Our ushers and again volunteers will, at the end of worship, will indicate to people when it is their turn or their group's turn to leave and return to the car. We are not allowed to serve any refreshments, and we will not be celebrating communion during our in-person worship. We will, however, be offering probably weekly an online communion experience. So you can watch for more details about that if you would like to participate in communion with your elements at home, as we have been doing. During this time, I know you're aware that the number of cases of the virus are increasing rather rapidly in our county. Our hospitals are really filling up, and we have several members of our church whose families have now been affected by people who have COVID-19. I expect that this situation will continue because this is a virus that seems very relentless in its ability to spread. We know from increasing studies that probably the single most effective way, if you are outside of your home, to prevent the spread of this virus is to wear a mask. And that's why we will require all people on our church property coming for worship to wear a mask and to keep a mask on for the entire service and to not take it off until you get back into your cars. This is a simple but necessary safety precaution, and we absolutely will make sure that all of us do that. So I just want people to kind of be prepared for some of what will be the new experience of being able to see other people at worship, but also protecting ourselves and each other by keeping our appropriate distance. Like many churches and other agencies in town, we've been experiencing a lot of traffic on our church campus related to people who need a drink of water, people experiencing homelessness who want to charge a cell phone or take a nap. And we want our church to be able to provide welcome and hospitality to people, but we want to do so safely, and we do not want to provide services that we are not in a position to provide. So I'm going to be asking a couple of people to work on preparing some information packets, a simple information sheet that we can hand out to people, directing them to the appropriate shelters and food pantries and mental health resources in town. We are also going to keep some bus vouchers available so that a person would be able to walk across the street and catch a bus if they want to access the services at some of those shelters. The city of Stockton has been providing portable restrooms, porta potties in a number of areas, and one of those is quite close to the church. It's just on the other side of the river on Pacific, and I have been directing some of our homeless friends who are in need of a restroom to go and use that restroom, which is available to them. And so we are trying in many different ways to help people access what they need and deserve, realizing that there are many services that we cannot provide on our property. It is very important to me, and I think to our trustees and many of our members, that we treat every person on our property with dignity and respect. And it's also very important that we protect our property and not have a situation where people can do harm to themselves or to the property. So part of our ministry right now is figuring out what that balance is. We support a number of these social organizations in town, like the Emergency Food Bank and St. Mary's Dining Room. And so we can feel comfortable and confident in directing people to those resources that are available to provide some of those needs. We are also working with the trustees on seeing if we can get an active neighborhood watch group for our neighborhood that would include some of the residents and apartments around, and the hospice, which is to our north, so that we have a sense of watching out for each other and helping everybody in our neighborhood be safe. A couple other updates. Our church council last week approved the use of up to $10,000, we may not need it all, to purchase some additional equipment that we need in order to be able to effectively film worship when we are worshiping either outside or inside in a kind of a live stream. And we also authorized a part of those funds to pay a small stipend to someone to help us with this new software and to edit before we upload our service. So we're learning a lot about how to provide an effective online presence, and I think we can feel really good about that. The money that we voted to use comes from a CD that matures next month that we cannot renew, and it has it's been with the endowment board since 2014, and so at this particular time we're going to access at least part of that money to support this immediate and different need. I will tell you that I am so grateful that our end of June, our mid-year financial report looks strong. Even without the payment protection program funds that we received, our pledge income and our what we call our recorded non-pledge income, meaning people who give fairly regularly but haven't made a pledge, in both those categories was up significantly if we compare it to last year. And that's great news. And our overall income in those categories at the end of June this year was about $36,000 more than it was at the end of June in 2019. So many people are faithfully supporting the ministry of our church financially, as well as with volunteer hours and in so many other ways, and I am enormously grateful. When I was at the church earlier today to record Sunday service, JD and Nancy McCain dropped off 80 masks that they have sewed to be part of the 700 masks that we have committed to Cleveland School. I think we already have about half of the masks that we promised them. Their principal is very excited, and they will need those masks this fall, even though they may not be in their building until later in the fall. So our ministry focus has changed a bit to try and address the immediate needs that have emerged because of the virus, and that is very appropriate because part of being the church is responding to the world around us and dealing with the urgency of immediate needs. So I continue to be grateful. I pray every day that each one of us may, to use the image from this Sunday's scripture, may experience the strength of God that allows us to walk and not be weary, and to rise up on eagle's wings, and to be held in the palm of God's hand. And that promise follows the statement that I'll talk about Sunday, those who wait upon the Lord. So for some of us, this is a time of waiting. May we wait actively and prayerfully together. See you soon.